anybody else that may be watching this today. I hope you're all having a great Tuesday, and just wanted to take a couple of minutes of your time to explain what you've been seeing at church on our announcements on the screen and in the bulletin and on Facebook and on Twitter. You've been seeing this picture that says "Change is Coming," September 7th, 2014. And there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of guessing as to what that might be. I've joked about the fact that one of our teenagers asked me if I was leaving, if I was moving. So that's not the change. I'm sorry if that disappoints anybody, but no, I'm not leaving Good Hope in September or any time that I know of. So we'll just get that one out of the way. But just to let you know what we've got going here, we've been discussing in our deacons meetings and among leadership, among staff, and with others, some things that God is kind of leading us to, we feel, and moving us towards as a church. God has been blessing us for the last several months. For those of you that are longtime Good Hopers, you have mentioned to me, and I know you feel this way, that you feel like every Sunday you're coming to a different church. God is blessing us tremendously with new faces each and every week. I mean, we have families visiting every week. I've been getting visitor cards put in the offering baskets, and I've been writing notes consistently every week. Sometimes 4 or 5 families in one Sunday, sometimes 1 or 2. I mean, but God is just blessing us, and He's been doing so for some time now. Now, most church experts, if that's even what you want to call them, I don't know, most pastors that have been in it for a while and folks that watch church growth kind of things, they'll tell you that anytime you were consistently running 80% capacity in your worship center, your sanctuary, whatever you call it, you want to look at starting an alternative service, a new service, because it helps spark growth. And so here the last several months, we have been consistently doing 85 and 90%, even more than that, for several months now. Some of our leadership has been kind of tracking that and watching that and seeing that we are consistently running those numbers. And so we began talking about this. I had people asking me, kind of dropping this in and saying, what about an additional worship service? And I was kind of opposed to that, that change. A lot of times the older generation gets a lot of jokes made about them that they are resistant to change. Well, even kind of the younger generation sometimes is resistant to change, and I was just kind of like, no, probably don't want to try that. I don't want to rock the boat too much, and maybe that's a lack of faith on my part. But one of the big reasons was, if you started another worship service, you got to recruit a whole new slew of children's ministry volunteers, people who will do kids worship, we worship, nursery, all that stuff. And so I felt like that was too much of a burden, too much of a strain. And so for a while now, I've kind of put that off and put that on the back burner. But then we began to talk amongst leadership and began to ask the question, is it a need? Would this be beneficial to Good Hope if we were to start an alternative, an additional worship service? And so as we began exploring that, we began to see reasons why this might be beneficial for our church. The first one that I talked about just a minute ago was the potential for growth. Most every church person you talk to will say when you start an additional worship service, most of the time you see your church grow. It, for some reason, attracts people who otherwise wouldn't come to your normal worship service time. I don't know, but I've talked to several pastors who say, that's true in the churches that they've served. People just like the option, if you will. So church growth is one reason. Another huge reason, and I have spent a lot of time with Mallory Cook, our children's minister, just kind of talking through this and getting her opinion. We have a lot of you Good Hopers who are so dedicated, so involved in our children's ministry, in kids worship, we worship. And I just want to say we have the best volunteers, I think, of any church out there. I would just put ours up to against anybody because you're so dedicated to our children and so dedicated to Christ and what He's called you to do in your life. And we are eternally indebted to you as a church. Those of you who work week in, week out, tirelessly teaching our kids and loving on them and laying that foundation of the gospel. But I've heard from some of you a couple of weeks ago, we put a little survey in the bulletin. And I had some of you return those surveys to me, and it said, as a children's worker who's over there for 3-4 weeks at a time, you feel isolated sometimes. You feel disconnected. You feel like you're missing out on being fed each week and worshiping with your church. And so several of you have commented to me, and Mallory has commented to me, that maybe an additional worship service for you to attend, those of you who are so involved in our children's ministry, would be beneficial for you to come and worship and just relax and hear from God and sing and participate before you go and serve next door. So with our children's ministry volunteers, with our with church growth, another reason some of you guys have talked to me, and even some ladies who work shift work. You know, Michelin is a huge plant in this area and employs several of you guys in our church. You work shift work. And a lot of you have told me, Daniel, 10 o'clock is when we normally have worship, and I get off at 7, working the night shift. And I would love to come to church, but by 10 o'clock, man, I'm asleep. If we had something a little earlier, I could come to church with my family those weekends I'm working. And so that's another consideration. And so just hearing all of this and you know, when it begins to, the buzz begins to get generated, you kind of think maybe this is from God. Maybe God's up to something. Maybe we need to really think about this and pray about this. And so, like I said, for several weeks now, the leadership at Good Hope, the deacons, we've been talking about this. We've been working through this and thinking about this. And so we've decided that we want to try it, starting in September. September the 7th, first Sunday in September. We're going to kick off a brand new worship service at 9 o'clock. Now, does this change Sunday school? Some of you may be wondering. No, it does not, by any means. I'll say this. If you currently attend a Sunday morning Bible study, stay with it. Don't leave. This 9 o'clock service, not for you. I firmly believe in the value, the importance of Sunday morning Bible study, Sunday school. I believe that it is integral in our walk with Christ. It provides in-depth Bible study that we need for our growth, for our walk with Christ. And we have phenomenal classes. Buster McCullough leads a great mixed couples class. Renee McCullough leads a great ladies class. Brandon Fortner leads a great young couples class. And then we have youth that meet over in the chapel, led by Steve McGill and Marcus Dickerson. And then we have our kids classes our kids are learning the gospel at a very young age during our 9 o'clock morning Bible study. And so that will not change. In fact, it's going to work out great because those families that come to our 9 o'clock worship service, if they have kids, their kids will just go to what we already have in place there in our Sunday school area. The kids will just go to their age-appropriate Sunday school class. And so the issue of additional workers is solved there. We've already got them in place. And so I'll say this. I'm excited about a 9 o'clock worship service. We'll have a 9 o'clock, and then we'll move our 10 o'clock service to 10:30. So there's only about a 30-minute shift there. Not a big deal. But we as leadership here at Good Hope really feel like this is the direction God's leading us in right now. We just say, you know what, God, we're going to follow you, and we'll follow you for as long as you want to carry it. And so starting in September, the first Sunday in September, we're going to shoot for the first 9 o'clock worship service. It'll be the same exact worship service that we have at 10:30. Nothing will change. The music will be the same. Message will be the same. Everything's the same. And so I just want to just let you know how excited I am about that. Get the word out about it. Again, nothing is going to change with our 9 o'clock Sunday morning Bible studies. And again, I know it sounds kind of harsh, but if you go to Sunday school, if you're committed to that, those small groups, stay with those. 9 o'clock, not for you. But we wanted to provide just an opportunity for growth in our church, and for those of you again who volunteer so faithfully in our children's ministry, to provide an opportunity for those in our community who wouldn't necessarily come to a 10 o'clock normal worship service, but might prefer something a little earlier. And so I'm excited about this. Be praying about this. We are keeping the option open. Now, summertime is a really weird time here at Good Hope. A lot of families go out on vacation. They take that time. That's great. I'm going to go on vacation with my family. And so we wanted to start it in September when school got back going, and we saw that consistency again. But the deacons, the leadership, we've talked about it. If we get through June and we see that our attendance and our growth is still happening consistently, then we're going to start this. We're going to push back the 9 o'clock service, that new service, and we'll probably start that either in July or August. We just want to follow God, and we see God moving. We see Him still working. We're just going to follow Him. And so, as of right now, we're going to start that 9 o'clock worship service and a 10:30 worship service in September, first Sunday in September. But be ready for change. If that were to be the case, we might start it even sooner than that. So, Good Hope, I wanted to release this today. We were going to do it Sunday, but we want to provide you the opportunity to, if you have questions about anything, to email me. My email is pastordaniel@goodhopehere.com. If you have concerns about it, you just feel free to email me. I got thick skin, so it's all cool. And then also wanted you to be able to watch this before Coffee House tomorrow night, Wednesday night, so that because we're going to have an open floor, and you can ask questions, you can express whatever, and we'll talk about it a little bit more then. So I love you, Good Hope. Hope you have a great week, and I'm excited. Invite somebody to church this weekend. Somebody that doesn't normally go to church, somebody that doesn't know Jesus. Invite them. I'm going to tell you, I love my church family. And one of the things that I hear most about from people who visit is how loved and how welcome they are. And they know that we're people that love God and love others. And so, Good Hope, I love you. Have a great week. We'll see you tomorrow night at Coffee.